What is up, YouTube? HTJ here, and I'm coming to you guys today with a very special video. Now, I would have normally just celebrated the new Harpie cards released in 2019 that were part of Legendary Duelist Pack Sisters of the Rose, as it recently just celebrated its 5th anniversary here on the TCG. But I wanted to go the extra mile and I wanted to celebrate the 5 years of Harpy support that has come out since the release of Legendary Duelist Pack Sisters of Rose. That's right, we're going to also include Harpie Conductor, Cyber / Harpie Lady, and Harpie's Pet Dragon Fearsome Fire Blast, as those 3 additional cards were released for the Harpie archetype within a span of the last 5 years. Funny enough, within the last 2 to 3 years of the release for um, from Sisters of the Rose, we literally got all of these cards within that time span. It was a very big time span since, let's see, the last Harpy support card was Harpie's Featherstorm. That was released in, I want to say, March of 2015. No, 2016 or 2015. No, 2016. So yeah, that's a big margin of 3 years, and then the margin between the last support card. So that's about a good 8 years. And no, we're not including OCG Rush Duel stuff because Rush Duel is completely different from the TCG OCG, but sucks. But I'll eventually do a video on them too. So yeah, there's time just to go ahead and take a look at these awesome cards that I know people are ready to have me. So, while we get started. Now, coming from Legendary Duelist Pack Sisters of the Rose in Legendary Duelist Pack 4, we have Harpie Perfumer. She is a level 4 Wind Attribute Winged Beast type monster with 1400 attack and 1300 defense. This monster effect reads this card's name becomes Harpie Lady while she's on the field in the graveyard. When this card is no longer special summon, you can add one spell or trap that specifically lists the Harpie Lady Sisters from your deck to your hand. If you control a level 5 or higher monster when this card activates this effect, you can add an additional card from your deck to your hand. You only use this effect of Harpie Perfumer once per turn. Joining her is the second cover monster from Legendary Duelist Pack 4, and that is Harpie Oracle. She too is a level 4 when attribute Winged Beast type monster, but she has 1300 attack and 1400 defense. Her effect reads this card's name becomes Harpie Lady while on the field or in the graveyard. You can use each of the following effects of Harpie Oracle once per turn. If you control all 5 or higher Harpie monster, you can summon this card hand. When this card is no longer special summon, at the end of the turn, you can add one spell or trap that specifically lists the Harpie Lady Sisters from your deck to your hand. Moving on from the two of them is now the spells from Legendary Duelist Pack 4. And that is Alluring Mirror Split, known in the OCG as the Split Mirrors of Seduction. This is a continuous spell, and its effect reads: when Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters you control destroyed by battle, you can special summon one Harpie monster from your deck to the field with a different original name than the one that was destroyed. If this card is destroyed by your opponent's card effect or your Harpie card effect, you can special summon one Harpie monster in your graveyard to the field. You only use each effect of Alluring Mirror Split once per turn. Then we have Harpie's Feather Rest, known in the OCG as Harpie's Feather Roosting. Target 3 Harpie Lady and or Harpie Lady Sisters in your graveyard and shuffle them back into your deck. Draw one card. If you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster, when you activate the card's effect, you can draw 2 instead. Then for the rest of the turn, after this card's effect resolves, you can only special summon wind monsters. You only use the effect of Harpie Feather Rest. You only use one Harpie Feather Rest per turn. Then we have Harpie Lady Elegance, the last of the cards from the Legendary Duelist pack. And in the OCG, this card's name is called the Elegant Harpie Lady. Shuffle one Harpie Lady Sisters you control from your monster zone into your deck. Then special summon 3 Harpie monsters, one from your hand, one from your deck, and one from your graveyard, with different original names from each other. You can then after this effect resolves, you can only special summon wind monsters. This card you control is destroyed by your opponent's card effect or your Harpie card effect. You can add one Harpie monster from your deck to your hand. When you use each effect of Harpie Lady Elegance once per turn. Then from there we have Harpie Conductor. She was released in Legendary Pack 2 in the OCG, and it was released here in the TCG in Battle of the Legends Heroes Revenge. She is a Link 2 when attribute Winged type monster that um, claims the bottom left, bottom right. She has 1900 attack, and she requires 2 wind monsters for her Link summon. This monster's name becomes Harpie Lady while in the field or in the graveyard. You can use each of the following effects of Harpie Conductor once per turn. Target one Harpie monster you can when Harpie monsters you control will be destroyed by battle or card effect. You can destroy one spell track card you can control instead. If a Harpie monster you control is returned to the hand via card effect outside of the damage step, you can target one summon monster your opponent controls and return it to hand. Then we have our first and currently only Synchro monster. This is Cyber slash Harpie Lady, known in LCG as Harpie Lady Scratch Crash. She is a level 8 win attribute bringing beast type synchro monster with 2600 attack and 1400 defense. She requires one tuner plus one or more non-tuners. When this card would be synchro summoned, you can use a Harpie monster you control as the tuner monster. This monster's name becomes Harpie Lady while in the field or in the graveyard. You can use the following effect of Cyber slash Harpie Lady once per turn. When a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated, you can target one monster your opponent controls or one Harpie monster you control and return that target to hand. Then we have the last of the new Harpie support, which recently came out last year. We have Harpie's Pet Dragon, Fearsome Fire Blast, known in the LCG as Harpie's Pet Dragon, Saint Fire Giga. This is a level 7 wind attribute dragon type monster with 2000 attack and 500 defense. The monsters you control cannot target level 6 or lower Harpie monsters for attacks. You only use each of the following effects of Harpie Pet Dragon, Fearsome Fire Blast once per turn. If you control a level 6 or lower wind monster, you can summon this card from hand in defense position. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can send one winged beast type monster from your deck graveyard. And that is all of the new Harpie cards released within the last 5 years. So let's talk about all these pitches. So starting off is Harpie Oracle and Harpie Graveyard. Now, one of the things about these two cards is that they have the ability to interact with every spell and track that specifically lists the Harpie Lady Sisters in its text, whether it's retrieving them from the graveyard to your hand via the effect um, of Harpie Perfumer, Harpie Oracle, or you're adding these cards to your hand via the effects of Harpie Perfumer. Now, for those who don't know, there are a total of 8 cards that you can get off of both of these monsters. Those targets are, of course, Elegant Egotist, Harpie's Hunting Ground, Cyber Shield, Triangle Ecstasy. Well, actually, it's Harpie's Hunting Ground, Triangle Ecstasy Spark. Then it's Cyber Shield, Harpie Lady Phoenix Formation, Alluring Mirror Split, Harpie Featheress, and Harpie Lady Elegance. Yeah, that's right. All of these cards can be searched off of the effects of Harpie Perfumer and Harpie Oracle. Now, the benefits to this is that, yeah, we actually have cards that can be searched off of the effects of Harpie cards that were not to be actually searched off of cards like Hysteric Sign. I love Hysteric Sign. I really do. It's one of Harpie's best spells that's in the game because it has a lot of versatility. It can easily be popped for its effect, and it has the utility to add cards with Harpie in its name from your deck to your hand. With the plethora of things that are now transpired, we have access to our spells, traps, and even our monsters. But with Oracle and Perfumer, you go even a step further by looking for particular monsters that have Harpie Sisters, cards that have Harpie Lady Sisters in its text. The thing about this is that if the card particularly said Harpie Lady, it would be actually really, really good for the strategies of the Harpie deck, which is to try to get cards to your hand as soon as possible that have Harpie in its name, while also maintaining the balance of being able to normal summon like crazy and special summon out of the ass. Because it's something that Harpies have the access of doing is to swarm the field as much as you possibly can, as long as someone is on the field that is treated as Harpie Lady. And that tends to work out pretty well in some cases. But there is also that longevity of an issue that goes into Harpie Oracle. Because we can easily get these out of the way. We love Harpie Oracle. We really do. But the problem with Harpie Oracle is something that relegates to a similar situation with Harpie Refueling. Is that you have to interact with level 5 or higher Harpie monsters. And at the time, well, they were only relegated to two. And that was, of course, Harpie Lady Sisters and Harpie's Pet Dragon. Now, Sisters, I can understand in cases because the case of Harpie Lady Sisters is that Harpie Lady Sisters does not have a retrain. It is one of the biggest things that a lot of us were very confused about when they decided to unveil Harpie Oracle and Harpie Perfumer was that, oh, if we're getting new cards to support Harpie Lady Sisters, are we finally going to get a retrain of Harpie Lady Sisters? And sadly enough, we still have not gotten the retrain of Harpie Lady Sisters. It would be nice, considering the fact that when you look at the OCG, they just got Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel, and they now have the Harpie Ladies, which are basically just higher level incarnations of Harpie Lady 1, 2, and 3 that make up a Harpie Lady Sister. And sadly enough, Harvey Red Dragon is just a lot more flexible in Rush Duel because of how its mechanics work. But remember, we did get some higher level Harvey monsters coming out of that later on. Within, 2 years later, we received Cyber Slash Harpy Lady, and then 3 years later, we received Harpy's Dragon Fierce and Fire. And to make sure that I have this correct, I do want to make sure of it. I did pull up Harpy's Dragon Fierce and Fire. Yes, he was released July 21st of 2022. So literally 2 years ago, we received Harvey's Red Dragon for Air Blast. While Cyber Slash Harpy Lady was released actually a year before, prior to. And the crazy thing about it is that both of these cards were actually promos for the VJO. And when they were announced, everyone was very excited because we're hoping that these were retrades that did more or gave more to the archetype that we did not have coming into it after Duelist Pack Sisters of the Rose. And it did a relatively good thing. We have two high level Harpy monsters with easy access to, and we can combo off of them to get other pieces. While both of them are high level Harpy monsters that are 5 or more, we have access to the plethora of cards that circulate around having those monsters on the field, as well as having those monsters as present. So, is there really a need to run Harpy Lady Sisters and Harpy Red Dragon? Well, to be honest, and for those who don't know, my playstyle does fit in with Harpy Lady Sisters because I love the utility to have a monster easily able to be special summoned off of Elegant Egotists besides just using up the Harpy Ladies in tow. While Harpy Red Dragon has now completely left my deck and I'm only running Harpy Red Dragon first with Fire Blast. Excuse me. It's not shade. It's off back to the team. Once we got our new dragon, the other one completely just left the building. There's no need to run Harpies by Dragon anymore. You have a superior level 7 that can literally be more of a help than it is a burden. In addition to that, we can also add to the fact that Harpy Channeler can now be level 7 even faster just off of this. So if you pull it off, you can normal summon Channeler, have a way that you can discard to summon the dragon, go for a way to summon Harpy Perfumer as fast as possible, and bam, you legitimately just have a plethora of support right there. off of getting at least 3 Harpie monsters on the board and potentially support cards from your deck as soon as possible. This is what we love about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that when you take advantage of your new support, you can really just opt out the combos and stuff there for your setup. It does require you to use other utility cards, I'm not gonna lie, but it does ultimately end in things that can create boards of cards and combos that are definitely used and utilized for the game. And I think the only issue that I have to honestly say that has been brought up, and I brought this up many times, is Harpies need a Cyber Dragon. They need a monster that can easily be social summoned without there needing to be a Harpie on. We know Oracle and Dragon needs to be summoned, but you need a Cyber Dragon as monster. We really do. It may be so that this is something that relatives to when we get a retrain for maybe Harpie Girl, and she can be utilized like that. Or maybe even an upgrade to the Harpie Lady Sisters, kind of similar to what the Harpies are doing in Rush Duel, where they're individual monsters, but they can easily be swarmed onto the field with ease. So, all right, that is it in terms of them. The only other thing I have to say about Oracle and Perfumer is literally that the access of things is greater now because they have all these access that were not possible at the time. But now that we have them, yeah, we definitely have some grace. I just wish that we did have the Cyber Dragon to kind of fill in and void, or the Harpy monster to be a Cyber Dragon. Like, moving on from there is the Alluring Mirror Split. And I'm just going to briefly say this. The only issue that I have with this card is that if this card had the text of when your Harpy Lady or Harpy Lady Sisters control a short battle and or card effect, it would be more substantial to be used. Having this card for the search, something from the graveyard, perfectly fine. I think this is honestly still a one up or something you can easily toss in and out if you choose to. But I've always loved the access of this off of the second search for Perfumer because at that point I'm either popping this card or activating it so I can trigger Cyber Slash so that she can bounce things away. And it's still relatively good for the pop because you get a Harvey Mouse in your graveyard so you can utilize something like your dragon if you have to keep things sustained. Moving on from there is, of course, our version of Pada Avarice, the Harpies Feather Rest. Now, some people did not like this card at first because of the fact that when it came into the game, people said, well, wait, Harpies need their graveyard. That's true. However, you need your utility cards too. And that's where this card does come in handy, is that it gives you back your Harpy Channelers, your Perfumers, your Harpy Ladies that you use off of your Elegant Egotists to link or synchro into, or Exceed, and just to put all the Harpy Lady and Harpy Lady Sisters, which is something that has to be recognized, is that that's what the intention of this card was, to bring back the Harpy Lady Sisters. Well, yes, we know they're not the best of comebacks, and a retrain is definitely needed. You now have a device in the game where you can use your newer higher level Harpy monsters to benefit from the draw too, and still relatively have advantages of things. The only issue is that yes, Samorg is no longer here, so we're kind of down a big bird or a big link three to play around with in terms of win. I would count Havas Vulgar, but I've already said how much of a pain in the ass he is, so it's relatively, if you want to cut it short with your plays, you cut it short with your legs. But I constantly ask this question is like, what do you utilize for things once you've gotten into the Feather Rest lock? Do you try to just make Cyber Slash as soon as possible, or do you try to go for Appaloosa and have her be on the board? Yeah, even Appaloosa can give his deck some support, but it also can lead to a lot of issues. Moving on from that is probably the most disappointing of the cards, and that's Harpie Lady Elegance, which, like I said, if we were playing around with a new retrain of Harpie Lady Sisters, this card would actually be good because we would have access to utilizing cards like Harpie Dragon. We've had the summon of multiple Harpies bird, that you can do combos in situations like that. You won't have dead cards in your hand, you have utility of your grave, and you have access to the cards in your hand to all be played at once, dealing with the a la Mirage that is the Harpy Lady Sisters themselves, 3 individual monsters that make up one whole. You can even do some crazy combos and stuff there by exceeding link summoning and all of that. Thanks to Harpie Lady Elegance. It's still relatively a card I don't use in the deck because I have to rely on it. So that's it for the cards with Duelist Pack Sisters. Let's move on to the next, and that's of course the two extra deck monsters. Harpie Conductor. While she relatively just came into the fray as trying to be a good support card for the Harpie archetype, while her colors, her glitz, her glam, and her elegance thing, she's more of the play on the phrase a great offense is a good defense. And while that does relatively links to a lot of cards itself, this is kind of one of the things or situations where you have to honestly look at yourself and say, wow, this is really, really good for what we needed at the time. Though she came in at a perfect time because when Link monsters were just being thrown left and right before the Master Rule change, Harpies definitely did need a Link monster of their own, and this is relatively it. Now her power combos come into the factor of the Field Spell, Divine Wind of the Valley. The effects of majority of when attributed monsters that return things to the hand are cards that just return hand. And at that point, if you're targeting a Harpy monster through an effect to return it to the hand, then you're relatively getting set with Harpy Conductor because she's going to bounce something else that some your opponent controls and return that to the hand. While I wish it wasn't relative to just monsters that were normal summoned, I think this is still a relatively good card. Good, but not great, and extremely not broken. If removal was anything, I wish she would have negated stuff as well and then have the ability to remove them. Then the conductor will probably see more play as well. But she's still relatively a useful monster nonetheless. Now let's move on to the big useful monster, and that is Cyber slash Harpy Lady. Our first synchro monster having relatively one of the best abilities that can be attached to her. The ability to be summoned by using a Harpy monster as a tuner. And this relatively goes into, of course, the setup and abilities that you get through a lot of your newer Harpy cards. You can easily go into her off of Chandler, so summon another Harpy, Synchro, and then bam. Big Lady has now hit the board. She has relatively a great stat lineup on her. She has the best utility about her, which is to remove cards from the field when cards are targeted. And then on top of that, just being a big body. So a lot of things would have to work really hard to get around her. I think for the most part, Cyber slash Harpy Lady has shown and proven that, yeah, it's never too late to get a synchro monster. My only issue with Cyber slash Harpy Lady is that she doesn't have a negation attached to her. If you have a negation, that'd be great because that will also fluctuate things well. For Hikio overall is just being able to negate things. And with how things are going, you have to bounce around with negation with friends. But it's easily one of the relatively easiest synchro monsters you can get because, funny enough, with Harpies that have a tuner, you basically just use your Harpy monster as a tuner. So a quick special summon of a quick normal off of Channeler, a discard to go get Harpy Perfumer. Perfumer searches for whatever target she wants, synchro, and then bam, you got Big Lady on the board. You're gonna use Harpy Perfumer on her own effect, normal summon her, search for elegant peaches, activate, synchro into her. You can kind of things with Cyber Slash just to bring her on board. You don't even have to actually use your actual Harpies. You can just use Tuner Monsters and synchro into her because of how generic she is. And I think that was one of the relatively good things about her upon her release is that, wow, you can use any deck can actually use her. And she can even target herself or return herself back into the deck. I remember Black was using it at a point in time because she was so easy to get to and she would just be so good for the setup. So yay to the Cyber slash Harpy Lady for not only coming in at the time she needed to, but hell, if she was even coming out a bit earlier, she would still be relatively good. So moving on from that is Harpy's Pet Dragon Fearsome Fire Blast. And basically, you are a retrain of a monster that no one wanted to run because no one wanted to dead draw this. But now we can dead draw you and not have too many issues because you have probably one of the most easiest summon mechanics attached to you, which is a level 6 or lower win monster on the field, special summon it. And that itself is a great utility for Harpies because, well, majority of your deck is level 6 or lower. And with how your combo game's working for having additional monsters, this is a great thing for you. Not only mentioning that, but it's a free send to the graveyard for Harpie. Harpist, who Harpist herself, will now be triggering the graveyard. Thanks to the abilities of your Crystal Fire Blast, a monster that literally can just try to act like a wall, which the acting like wall thing is not really you should be proud of. It's like, oh yeah, I got a Harpies Pet Baby Dragon, a Harpies Pet Dragon Crystal Fire Blast. Literally does nothing to the format right now because everything just pops things. And most of the stuff that goes into the battle phase, your effects are going to be 9 out of 10 negated because it's Dark River no more. So I would honestly just suggest take advantage of what you have. Do not try to extend to the things that you don't, and don't try the weaker combos because you have a ton of other better combos attached to Dragon. Like you can throw this thing into some work to give them access to Flash. I know there was some decks back a few years back that were using Timer set up with Pierce and Fire, and then you can make Cyber Slash. And then this is also what's that guy's name? Rugal to the graveyard, the level 1, and then the level 1 can switch off of things. So, yeah. We found an upgrade to an upgrade that was definitely needed and now even more utilized than the OG monster. It's almost like a vanilla that could have just easily been stuck into the back. But yeah, I know this is a very long video, so I do apologize for that. Not really, but things have to be addressed. Now, if there's anything that I do want to say is that Harpies, in terms of the last 5 years, definitely got some really good support. It's not the best support if you look at it overall. You can easily give it like a B. But for individual cards, I would have to honestly say, I think right here is where I would say the jump off is. Not necessarily that all of these cards are bad, but your key points happen to just be in their key positions. And then how things are relatively built on to what they are. Now, if Harpies did get another massive jump, definitely a couple of things I would say is Harpies need a monster that special summons from the graveyard. Harpies need a monster that can special summon itself like it's Cyber Dragon. Have a utility of cards that supports the banish, while also having cards that do negation. Not monster negation. We also want to include spell and trap negation because that's something really big that is currently going on in the current game. And is, ironically enough, just being overshadowed for whatever reason it is. But yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. And I hope this video started off strong. It's something that people relatively will enjoy. Now, if there's any questions or things, you can definitely leave that in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel as it helps me out tremendously. You hit the notification bell to be informed of when I upload more content to the channel. And of course, guys, my social media links are in the description box below. So with that said and done, happy 5-year anniversary to Legendary Duelist Pack Sisters. And I will catch you all next time. HGJ signing out. Take care.